Right, welcome back to the channel. Today is something a little bit different because I kind of want to rant. And if you didn't get enough of that in yesterday's video, you should check that out because both Sad Lions fan slash Red Wings fan slash whatever fan he is, we're pretty miffed about our football teams. But today we're talking about the Leafs because I've seen a lot of rumors in the media that the Leafs should be experimenting with three defensemen and two forwards. This is the most idiotic thing I've ever heard in my life. I've been playing hockey since I was 4 years old. Since I could walk, I've been playing hockey, and I've started to get into coaching hockey and things of that nature. Starting to try and become a coach, trying to help kids and things like that. And through all my years, I have never even had a coach consider this as an option. And I know what people are going to say. Oh, the Leafs are trying to be outside the box. They're trying to um, support their weak decor. Yeah, but you're also removing your biggest strength. The Leafs' biggest strength is that they have waves and waves of forwards, like skilled forwards, all four lines that can do a job for you. And if you do this system, you're basically just saying, we're going to remove that depth because if you sit one of those forwards for a game, then you basically don't need a fourth line. You just rotate three lines the whole game. So what you're doing then is you're putting way more pressure on a decor that doesn't need it, and you're also making it harder for forwards to score. We look at the best games the Leafs played last year. Carolina in the New Generations game. We scored like 7 goals in that game. We didn't win because of good defense. We won because our offense is just better than yours. And now we're just going to get rid of our biggest strength? It's an idiotic coaching philosophy. Coaches throughout my whole hockey life, which I know isn't very successful, but have always told me that coaching philosophy is built around the players that you have. And I understand that this is to a degree, but what you're doing here is mitigating the ability of your best players. That's plain and simple. That's what you're doing. If you don't have Hyman and Marner next to Matthews, and you just have Marner and Matthews on a line, then you're mitigating the ability of that line because Hyman does all the dirty work. And if you're expecting someone like a Jake Muzzin to start going into the corners because there's three defensemen on the ice, that's just not how it works. Because when you play structurally, the idea of having 3D is that you're going to be better defensively. But that's not actually that true because you can't stuff three guys on the blue line, which means one guy has to go deep just for a spacing reason. And if that happens, then that guy is going to be useless anyway because the forward's probably better at back checking and forechecking and doing defensive work in the offensive zone. It's just mind-boggling to me that this has even been suggested by outlets like TSN. I saw this in my sub box by TSN that they were talking about this. I didn't even want to watch it because I'm like, this is an idiotic argument and it ruins hockey structure. It just doesn't make sense. I understand too, like there's been plenty of other parallels that this could be drawn to, like the three ball in the NBA, how they used to say you couldn't win on a 3-pointer. I think the difference there, and the changing positions obviously in the NBA, but I think the difference there is that when it comes to hockey, your spacing is built on three forwards, two defensemen. Doesn't matter on size, but that's what your structure is. And no matter what offensive slash defensive system you run, whether it's the box, whether it's a one man deep, two men high, two men deep, one man high in terms of forechecking, like no matter what you run, it relies on three forwards. Every single system I've ever heard of relies on three forwards, especially since forwards are normally quicker than D, which means that they are better at forechecking, which means they're better at getting possession in the offensive zone, creating mistakes, and creating goals. If you think Jake Muzzin or Morgan Riley or any of our defensemen are going to be good at playing neutral zone trap or forechecking or putting pressure on their D, you're just wrong. They haven't been trained for that. They've been playing three forwards, 2D their entire life. You're just going to, I know this probably isn't going to happen, but the fact that it's even being talked about by reputable media sources is a travesty because this is, it just bothers me that they think that this is going to work. If you try it for a game and we get spanked, because we probably will, and losing 1-0 when you have 3D on the ice the whole game is getting spanked because that's basically what the point is. Keep goals out and you're getting scored on. You'd basically have to keep a shutout every single game if you're putting an extra defender. Also, if you do the system in your own zone, you have two guys up high, so you're probably going to have both your forwards up on the defense, which makes sense. That's what you do anyway. But your center is meant to initiate breakouts, is meant to help support the D. That's how it works. You think another defenseman's going to know how, be natural at starting a breakout, starting to trap, starting to go into space where they know the puck is going to be, and then initiate breakouts? It's just so many tactical problems with the system that these guys aren't built for. It's just plain and simple. These guys haven't been trained to do this, and you're suggesting that these guys go in blind, throw a defenseman at center, and see how it goes. Like, it doesn't, like, I've played every position in hockey, minus goalie, and I was blessed to be a defenseman in my later years, because that's where I really was way better at a defenseman, because I couldn't play offense. And you know what? That's a big problem, because look at the output. I guarantee you, if we put like Morgan Riley traditionally in a winger position, the output of goals is going to be less, because that's not his job. Like, he's still a good offensive defenseman, I'll give you that. But Brent Burns used to be a forward, and he wasn't setting the world alight, and he's a fantastic defenseman, offensively at least. And it just doesn't correlate. Like, I'm obviously a worse forward than I am a defenseman, but that's because I focus more on the defensive side of the game. That's why I like to coach, is because when you play defense, you see everything, and that translates, I think, better into coaching than, at least for me. So when I see this system being suggested, it just doesn't make sense. I don't think we should run this. I don't think we should be experimenting when we're supposed to be challenging for a championship or at least a series win. At least let it get so dire before you make radical changes. The Washington Capitals won the cup when they weren't supposed to. That's hockey. Teams win when they're not supposed to win. Teams win when every piece comes together, but not only on paper, but in the locker room. And these guys have been together for a couple of years now. They've had 3 straight years of heartbreak in elimination games where they were just outplayed. So that's not a cause for concern in terms of radically changing the system to which you run. What you should be doing is refining your current system to better suit your players and better compete as a team. Get better locker room chemistry. Do whatever. Just don't radically change the system, because then you have to reteach guys new systems, and they're going to be fumbling over themselves, especially when you put a guy who isn't trained to be a forward or a forechecker or a neutral zone trapper up into that role. Just because a guy plays defense, just because he's defense, doesn't mean that he's going to be automatically a more defensive forward. That just means he's going to be worse at what the forward does. He's not trained to be that. It's like, it's just annoying to me when this happens, because this is obviously for clicks, and I know I'm making a video about this, so you guys can say that I'm selling out or whatever about this, but I think that I'm so passionate about this because I'm trying to be a coach, and I'm trying to get into coaching both in baseball and hockey, and it infuriates me when I see that people are making such basic level mistakes on an NHL, or suggesting basic level mistakes at a high level when it's TSN, the Toronto Star, outlets like that are talking about this. And I know, as a 19-year-old who's played sports since I was little, that this is a radical change that probably will not work. I'd give you 99% chance it does not work, because guys are not trained to play in those positions. So, I know my philosophy may be different than the Leafs, but it doesn't make any sense to me. I thought I'd make a video about this because there's probably not going to be there's no games on, at least with my teams today, and there probably isn't going to be any news, so I thought I'd get this out early before I start working on schoolwork. So yeah, please like and subscribe. Check the channel for videos every single day. Check out the last couple videos. I know they haven't done too well on football. My buddy Caleb and I get pretty miffed about our teams. Sad Lions fan, sad Broncos fan. So if you like raging, that's the videos for you. New things coming soon. Please check back. Notifications on. Whatever. Thank you.